Welcome to Are You Quizzing Me? I'm Vineet Nair with my co host Aditya Kashyap. This is a quizzing trivia podcast show where we ask each other questions and share what we know and learn with you. Though in a quizzing format, it's not competitive, the questions are simply a way of sharing our love of trivia. So sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the depths of human knowledge. Here's the format. We ask each other questions alternatingly, as many as time permits, while giving as many clues as needed to help each other get to the answer. Let's get quizzing. And we are back with another episode. But as usual, before we start with the questions for today, Aditya, there is the small matter of the previous episode's question. So tell us.
So the question was, I'm changing this for convenience sake. What textile was inspired by a park in India? But the name of what textile was inspired by a park in India? And the answer would be very obvious. It is the Jim Carpet National Park.
Oh God, that is so bad. For a second, I thought you were going with Nehru jacket or something. Nehru Park, Nehru jacket.
That would actually be a logical answer, but I chose not to go with that because there is the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, there's Nehru Parks, but no, I think it really says something about us and about my joke specifically, where put in the extra effort to make sure it doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it doesn't at all. No, not even a little bit.
Uh, you're
Okay.
welcome.
So after that dose of medicine and making our listeners realize that you woke up today and chose violence, let's
I did.
move on to the question. So I'll be starting off the questions for today. So my first question is a little controversial question, but let me just ask this anyway. James Barry was one of the UK's most distinguished surgeons in the mid 1800s. He was named after an uncle of the same name. A surgeon in the military, Barry went on to have a flourishing and long career across several colonies. Barry also holds the distinction of being the first British surgeon to successfully perform a C section in Africa where the mother and child survived. What was James Barry's other major medical distinction?
Interesting. I I don't know why, but my first instinct was, is he Jack the Ripper? One of the people
No, we
who's
still don't know exactly for sure who
Yeah,
Jack
one
the
of the
Ripper.
people who's might have been Jaguar, but okay, fine. That would not be a
No.
medical distinction. That was a medical besmirch. Um, you said it's controversial. So is it not a settled debate on whether
Yes,
this
it's not a
particular
settled debate.
achievement?
It's not a settled debate, but
Hmm.
yeah, there is a clear answer to it. But there is a little bit of controversy on certain nuances of this.
James Barry, and this is the 1850s in the UK,
1800s, let's say 1800s.
1800s in the UK.
Yes.
Uh, Anesthesia, though I feel like that is later, but
No, no, no,
is it
nothing like that. Nothing
original
like that.
anesthesia?
Think of it as a record or a major medical distinction related to Dr. Barry.
Uh, I'll ask for a hint. Is it anything to do with his name, or actually any hint would do?
There isn't much I can tell you as way of a hint.
Hmm.
But let me just put it this way. Dr. James Barry was the first. Okay, I don't know how to give this clue because
Okay. Let me shoot a few more arrows in the dark, and then let's see. Is it piece of medical equipment
no,
that he
it's
invented?
related
Okay.
to James Barry as a person.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's not a medical procedure or equipment or anything like that
No, no. Dr.
that
James
he.
Barry was credited with, doing the first C-section in Africa. That's another story
Uh-huh. Okay.
where the mother survived. It's not. He was not the first to do a C-section, but he was the first to do a C-section in Africa, where the mother survived.
Okay. But the question was, what other medical distinction is he remembered for?
Yes, the medical distinction that Dr. James Barry is remembered for.
I don't know. Was he a conjoined twin who was separated
No, 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 no. You're
successfully?
moving somewhat in the right direction, but not
Ah.
anything related to twins or something. It's related to Dr. James Barry as a person.
Did he try some sort of psychedelic drug or something? No, I'm actually a bit in the dark. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, let me just put it this way. One clue I can give you is James
Mhm.
Barry was not the name he was a name this person was born with.
Oh, was his
That's
name
a clue.
Caesar? Caesarian? That's
No,
not
no,
the
no, no.
right
Nothing
answer
to do with
for
that.
that. Um,
I'm actually struggling to give you a clue here. If you just pay attention to what I'm struggling with, it might actually tell you.
but I'm struggling. Am I supposed to read your mind? Am I supposed to
No, no,
see the
no.
answer in
The
your eyes?
language. I'm trying to be very politically correct.
Oh, was Dr. James Barry not born a man?
He was not.
Uh, okay,
He was
interesting,
actually
interesting.
he was born Margaret Buckley. So
Hmm.
technically, she was the first female licensed physician of the UK. But nobody knew this. She managed to hide the fact that she was a woman through God knows how many decades of military service. And it was only when she died that they found out that, the Dr. James Barry was technically not a he. Now, the problem here, the controversy is that there is a little bit of controversy whether this person was a female or an intersex, because I believe there was no autopsy done. So we don't know for sure whether it was an situation as an intersex situation, or whether it was a female masquerading throughout her life as a male. Now, one point to be noted is the charwoman, or the woman who dressed her after she died, claims that she had marks indicating she had given birth at one point. Now, that is what really baffles me. This is a person in the British Army for most of her life. And if she had managed to give birth amongst while living amongst so many men, that's just baffling how she could have done that.
Yeah, because only reason I got it because you said was the whole politically correct thing. And I also wonder, like, if it even makes sense to look at something from the 18th century as through the lens of today and our gender norms and names and classification of today.
Yeah, there is a controversy on as to what pronoun should be assigned to her, because whether she was a she or a he, that's what I was struggling with. Because whenever I say James Barry, the automatic inclination that's been hammered into me is to say he. So then that's why I kept
Yeah.
focusing on. I would kind of correct myself and say
Dr.
James
Barry.
Barry, James Barry, James Barry, instead of saying he or she,
Right.
instead of using a pronoun.
Right. Very interesting. Yeah. Perhaps this was just an individual who chose
No,
to
but
live their
it's
life the way
fascinating.
they
It's
do.
fascinating, regardless of whether she was a genetic female or whether it was an intersex situation. Somebody having the grit to follow and do what they wanted, while hoodwinking
Hmm.
so many men for such a long
Hmm.
time, and also not just keeping them gaping a low profile. She was a high profile person, right? With these kind of achievements, and she managed to pull it off. That's just fascinating to me.
Whoever they were in their life, good for them.
Good for them.
Good for this Dr. Barry.
Yes. Born Margaret Buckley.
Born Margaret, eventually Dr. James Barry. Yeah, good for them. Good for them. All right, wonderful. Let's move from Europe to South America. Now, you were speaking of the 18th century. So I'll talk about 15th November 1889. At 8:30 in the morning, the sky above Rio de Janeiro was marked by certain positions of certain stars.
Mhm.
How do we still remember that today?
So, how do we still remember the fact that on this particular date there was a certain configuration of stars in the sky above Rio?
Hmm. Yeah.
Is anything to do with Carnival?
No, it doesn't have to do with the carnival.
Okay, so that's practically my only guess. Um, nope, I need a clue.
Okay. I'm assuming you perhaps Brazilian history is not
No, I'm very
your
poor in
friend.
South American or
Okay.
Mesoamerican history. I any thought.
No worries at all. On 15 November 1889, the constitutional monarchy of the Empire of Brazil was overthrown, and the proclamation of republic happened on this day. So, the end of the emperor's reign and the proclamation of the republic happened on 15 November 1889. Early in that morning, the position of the stars in the sky were recorded
On the Brazilian
for
flag.
posterity's sake. It is on the Brazilian flag. You are absolutely right. That's what the
Huh?
Brazilian flag.
Okay, I would not have guessed this in 100 years, but the moment you went from
That was a fantastic
monarchy
answer.
to republic, I was like, okay, and then I just remembered, the flag does have a few stars on them inside the.
So interestingly enough, for some reason, I'd never paid attention to the fact that there were stars in the middle of that circle.
Yeah,
So it's supposed to
blue
represent
stars
the
on a
night
yellow
sky.
background, right? In the blues in a yellow circle or
It's,
something like that.
it's white stars on a blue
On a
circle
blue, okay,
on
yeah, still.
a on a yellow quadrilateral and a green background.
Yes, yes, okay, yeah. I remember there are stars there,
Mhm.
but I just couldn't. Yeah, no, but so it's the
The-
exact day they recorded that exact day.
So
So
that's what
what
the
did they
idea
put? Did
was
they put the
behind.
a particular constellation or
It is a bunch of stars that are probably visible from the southern hemisphere.
okay, okay,
From the southern hemisphere, and let me read out actually what I read.
huh,
So, the moment at which the constellation of the Southern Cross was on the meridian of Rio de Janeiro, and the
huh,
longer arm of the cross was vertical, is the moment that has been recorded.
okay.
Right. So, the designer of the flag intended to record the stars as they were in that moment.
Brilliant question. Brilliant question. I knew there were
Mhm.
stars, but I had no idea what the stars were for. So now November 15th, 1889.
Mhm. That's the one.
Let's pivot a little bit towards the Middle East. Now, X is a character in the folklore of the Muslim world from Arabia to Central Asia and is a hero of numerous humorous short stories, and satirical anecdotes. There are frequent statements about his existence in real life and even archaeological evidence in specific places. For example, a tombstone in the city of Aksahir in Turkey. X often appears as a whimsical character of a large number of Turkish, Persian, Albanian, Armenian, Azerbaijani, Bengali, Bosnian, Bulgarian, Chinese, Greek, Gujarati, Hindi, Judeo Spanish, Kurdish, Romanian, Serbian, Russian, Ubyuk, and Urdu folklore tradition of vignettes. In 2020, an application to include the tradition of telling X's stories in the UNESCO's An Intangible Cultural Heritage list was jointly submitted by the governments of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Who is X?
Hmm. Is it Aesop's fables? Is it Aesop?
No, no, not Greek in origin. No, as I said, no, this character is also seen a lot in India. If you if you pay attention to the
Right, right,
question,
right.
as I mentioned, there's Hindi, Bengali, Urdu. The newer generation of kids he may not be a popular character among them, but for
Mm-hmm.
90s kids, yeah, uh, there is occasion for you to have read about or at least heard the name.
Is there a specific character? Sinbad?
No, it's basically like let's just say a kind of prototypical like a Tenali Raman or a Birbal kind of story.
That's what I was thinking. Birbal and Dalai Lama were the first that came to mind, but I doubt they have a Middle Eastern origin.
No, 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 no. And there
So
are a huge number
interesting.
of countries where this person's stories tell about.
Yeah, just the number of countries throws me off a lot. Interesting. Who is this person?
Because I'll be
Oh
honest,
no,
when I grew up
mhm.
and I read his stories, I had thought this was an Indian character. Frankly, I thought it was Indian until I came up
Interesting.
across this, piece of trivia. I was convinced this person was Indian.
Very interesting. I'll need a clue.
Okay, so you can get his name from a combination from the first name of a very well-known actor and the Turkish appellation for a holy man, a Bollywood actor. The first name of very famous
From
Bollywood actor,
Bollywood.
and the surname would that be of the appellation given by Turkish people to a holy man?
A Turkish holy man. Wow. Mm, mm.
If you watch Turkish horror movies on Netflix,
Hakim,
which
no, Hakim is not
guilty pleasure I do, you
okay.
would probably get that last part.
Yeah, no, I don't have any clue as to what that is. But a famous Bollywood actor. No, I'm trying complete blank. Can you repeat the era that we are talking about? When are these stories from?
So these stories are, I think, from the Middle Ages sometime. I'm not exactly sure. That's
Okay.
not part of the
Oh, okay,
question.
okay, okay. Wow. Arabian Nights is the other thing that comes to mind, but then again, it's not one specific person.
No, no, no. It's not one specific person.
Vikram and Betal by any chance?
No, 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 no. That's definitely Indian.
Okay,
That's
those are
definitely Indian. I
definitely
believe.
Indian, right?
Yes.
Oh man, this is
Okay, I'll give you another clue. I will give you another clue.
yes, please do.
I'll give you two clues actually. If you go to Turkey, there is a very famous statue of this person riding a donkey or a mule.
Okay.
Okay. And the second thing is in
Hmm.
India, if you read Tinkle in the 90s,
Okay.
you would probably know him.
Tupandi, Shikari Sambhu, Chacha Chaudhary. Oh my God.
No, no, no.
All of these sound very Indian to me.
I have questions on all of these people, but I'll be putting those later.
Save
Tinkle
them
is
for
like
some other time.
a minefield of questions, by the way.
Wow, no, I have no idea whatsoever. You said
Okay,
Indian actor and
you say if you wanted to get the name, you would Okay, I will lead you to the question. The actor in question is
uh
the is one of the dual protagonists of a Wednesday. You know Neeraj
oh,
Pandey's
okay.
first film.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. I don't know why I was thinking like a leading hero kind. Here, it's. I'm guessing it's not Anupam. It's probably going to be Nasiruddin.
Okay,
Nasiruddin. Okay, I feel like.
it's
Uh,
possible you may
is
not
it
know this character now. I think
Hakim?
of it. Maybe I went a little too obscure, but
I,
he was
I
a
I feel
Tinkle
like I've
character as
read
far
it.
as.
Is it the last name starts with an H or something?
Yes, yes.
H or a J? H or J? The H is it?
Yeah, technically you can write it with a G as well. I mean, like somewhere in the middle, if you wanted to.
Oh, he not Hegre. Uh, Hoja. Is it Hoja?
Yes, it is Nasruddin Hoja.
Nasiruddin Hoja. But please remind me because just a flash of this name in my head, but I have no idea where I've read this on.
Yeah, so Nasruddin Hoja was, as I mentioned, a wise is a folklore character, which the current origins are speculated to be somewhere around the Turkish region. So this person, so the stories about this person travel all the way from Central Asia to India, and I have a story of his to
Oh,
set the
please
mood and
tell
to
me.
let you know. Okay.
Yeah.
So once Nasruddin was invited to deliver a sermon. When he got to the pulpit, he asked, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" The audience replied, "No." So he announced, "I have no desire to speak to people who don't even know what I will be talking about." And he left. The people felt embarrassed and called him back again the next day. This time, when asked the same question, the people replied, "Yes." So Nasruddin said, "Well, since you already know what I'm going to say, I won't waste any more of your time." And he left. How the people were really perplexed. They decided to try one more time and once again invited the mullah to speak for the following week. Once again, he asked the same question: "Do you know what I'm going to say?" Now the people were prepared, and so half of them answered yes, and the other half replied no. So Nasruddin said, "Let the half who know what I'm going to say tell it to the half who don't." And he left.
Man, I like this guy.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Huja is a term used in Turkish for holy person, somebody who's
Oh,
knowledgeable. So something like mullah that we use, no, the same kind of appellation
right.
is used.
No,
So if
no.
you watch the some Turkish horror movies and all, especially where there are jinns involved, there will be somebody, one
Mm.
Huja, who's part of the
Got it.
retinue of
Yeah.
people trying to solve the problem of the jinn infestation.
I'm trying to figure out where would I have heard this name. Probably Tingle then.
It'll
It
be
probably
Tinkle.
has to
It'll
be
be
somewhere
Tinkle.
in Tingle.
Tinkle or Champak.
Yeah,
I'm fairly sure it was there in Tinkle, but in the 90s, we used to read all this stuff. No, so I'm fairly sure it's Tinkle.
probably. Good question. Fun question. I'll have to. You know what? This just makes me want to go read some of these wonderful, witty stories. Because I'm a big fan of Birbal and Tenali Raman and all of them.
Yes, yes.
So this sounds like the same kind of vibe. I'll read some. I'll read some. Lovely.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a statue in Turkey I've seen a picture of where it's cast in bronze or something, where Nasruddin Hoja is traveling backward on a donkey or a mule. Beautiful statue. Okay, your turn.
My question. So this company based in Ohio in the US just has 17 employees, or used to have 17 employees from back when this little anecdote is from. They're called the Universal Tube and Roll Form Equipment. Why did they sue a much bigger company in the year 2006?
Okay, so they're from Ohio, and what did you say they manufactured?
Tubes and used equipment, so machinery, used
Oh,
machines and stuff.
only 17 employees.
Yeah.
And they sued somebody. They sued a bigger company in 2006. Something to do with Tesla.
No, it's not got anything to do with Tesla. But
Mm,
you
close.
are not far away in terms of the Silicon Valley aspect
Ah, okay. You haven't told me the name of this company, right?
of the company they sued. No, I have not mentioned that.
No, no. The name of this company, the one in Ohio?
Universal Tube and Roll Form Equipment.
Universal Tube and Roll Form Equipment. Wait, did they, Universal Tube and Roll Form, do they call themselves Uber or something? No, right?
No,
No,
no.
no. Silicon Valley. Clue, please.
Back then, this was a non-profit making company. Well, a lot of them started
Pre-revenue.
off without making profits.
So
Yeah,
pre-revenue.
before the stakeholders start demanding revenue generation, everybody just wants to be viral and not really making money.
2006.
Yeah.
It was a tube company. have to sue Silicon Valley for? I'm guessing it's some kind of IP, right? It must be a name or something that they're suing for.
Not too far off, yes. They
Silicon Valley.
received 68 million hits on their website in the month of August of 2006.
No clue.
In 2006, Google bought them.
Google bought something in 2006. Which company did Google buy in 2006? Orkut? No.
I believe Orkut was bought a bit earlier, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it's not Orkut is not the answer.
Okay. No. Who else did Google buy? Google bought YouTube, but that was later, I guess. Oh,
No,
wait, it
you're
is
right. You're
YouTube.
right.
It was YouTube. Brilliant. Okay, that's a very good question. Why didn't I think of that?
Universal
Universal Tube.
Universal
Tube.
Tube website was literally the letter U
You
and
and Tube.
tube.com. And they owned this domain prior to YouTube coming into existence. And
Oh,
they got
brilliant.
overwhelmed with number of people trying to access youtube.com by typing in the letter U and tube. And they sued them in the courts.
Okay, that's a
And
brilliant question.
clearly,
That is a brilliant question. Okay.
the rest is history. Yeah. Your question.
So this is again going to be a controversial question. Some people may call it stupid, but bear with me. Okay. Think indirectly for this. That's all I'm saying. If you witnessed a live broadcast of two hijacked planes being crashed by Al Qaeda terrorists into the Twin Towers in 1994, where would you be?
I don't know. The CIA?
No.
Were they
Now you're watching a live broadcast. Okay. So you are
what's a live
watching a live broadcast, okay, of, two hijacked planes crashing into the World Trade Center in
Al Qaeda
1994.
by the terrorist group Al Qaeda?
Yes, in 1994.
Where would you be? You're watching a live broadcast. You would be not in 1994 and in 2001. I don't know. I'm so
Not
confused.
particularly wrong, but you'll have to give me a more specific answer because it is 1994. I can tell you it's 1994. Where you are, it is 1994.
Is it a TV show that is
No, it's not a TV show. I told you you're watching a live broadcast and
watching a
it's
live broadcast?
1994. Where are you?
Uh, is it which does a country that have a different calendar that is seven
Oh,
years behind?
where
Is it
you're,
is it
you're, you're there, you're there, you're there. Just tell me the country.
I'm thinking Israel is the Jewish calendar 7 years
No, no,
behind.
it's not Jewish calendar. No.
Is it the Mayan calendar?
No.
Oh man, I'm just gonna keep guessing. Is the Chinese calendar which one
It's in
is 7 years
Africa.
behind?
Let me put it this way. It's in Africa.
Africa. Oh my, that's a lot of countries. This is the Egyptian calendar. I'm just gonna start listing countries alphabetically in Africa.
If I'm not mistaken, this country is one of the major frontline candidates for the origin of the Queen of Sheba, as in the Queen of Sheba is
Is it
suspected to have come
Morocco?
from this country, not Morocco.
Oh,
They also had
Libya?
one of sorry,
Libya?
no, they also had one of the earliest and oldest Christian populations in the world.
Oh boy,
Think coffee.
I coffee. Man, Ethiopia?
Yes, it is Ethiopia.
Okay. Oh, Queen of Sheba would not have led me there. But interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Ethiopian
Yeah, no,
calendar
there
is
are many
7 years
countries. There are
behind.
many countries. This is one of those countries where she's suspected to have come from.
Ah, okay, okay. No,
Okay.
but
So,
is the 7 year number just specific to Ethiopia?
yes. So I'm going to give you a knowledge dump on calendars. Small
Okay,
primer.
do that.
168 of the world's countries use the Gregorian calendar as
Hmm.
their sole civil calendar as of 2021, 2022. Okay.
Hmm.
Most non Christian countries have adopted it as a result of colonization, with some cases of
Hmm.
voluntary adoption.
Hmm.
Four countries have not adopted the Gregorian calendar. Okay.
Okay.
Those are Afghanistan and Iran, which use the solar Hijri calendar,
Hmm.
Ethiopia, which uses the Ethiopian calendar, and Nepal, which uses the Vikram Samvat calendar, which is 57 years ahead.
Okay.
The Afghanistan Irani calendar, it's 1401 in the year is 1401 according to that calendar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, the Ethiopian calendar is 7 years behind the Gregorian calendar.
Hmm.
Now, here's another thing. Four countries use a modified version of the Gregorian calendar, which are Japan, North Korea, Taiwan, and Thailand.
Okay.
Okay. 18 countries use another calendar alongside the Gregorian calendar, including
Hmm.
India.
Oh,
Yes.
what is
So
India's
India,
alternative
yeah, we
calendar?
have we have the Hindu calendar as well as the Gregorian calendar used,
All right,
but
right, right.
predominantly the Gregorian calendar is used here. The Ethiopian calendar has 12 months of 30 days plus 5 or 6 epagomenal days, which comprise a 13th
Hmm.
month. The Ethiopian year
Oh, okay.
number is 8 years less than a Gregorian year number from January 1st until 10th or 11th September, and then 7 years for the remainder of the Gregorian year. It's quite complicated. So if you
Ah,
went to
okay.
Ethiopia right now, the calendar that they use is 7 years behind. So if you want to feel
Very good.
younger, go to Ethiopia. Or even better, even if you want to feel older, go to Nepal. You'll be 57 years older over there.
Good 10 years old. Either ways, either ways. Okay. It's a fun question. I feel like you have a lot of potential here. I think you can keep hitting me with these calendar trivia because this is a source I've not tapped into ever. Very cool, very
There's a
cool.
lot, yeah.
Okay, my turn. In in 1883, in Indonesia, there was a volcanic eruption. This was the eruption of Krakatoa,
Yes.
a very, very historically significant event.
Yes.
How do you remember this in popular culture?
So,
It's
uh,
easy one for
I
Manish.
okay. So I am going to guess once if I get this right. So in Edward Munch's painting, The Scream, the sky is orangish red because the volcanic ash from Krakatoa had spread all over Europe and had caused yellowed and orange skies for, I don't know, months. And Edvard Munch had painted the famous Scream painting during that time. Is that what you're looking for?
Wonderful, wonderful answer, and I cannot fault you even for a inch on that answer. Great crack, yes. So his very famous painting, The Scream, one of the origins, possible origins, is from the beautiful sunsets that happened for almost a year after the eruption because of the residue in the atmosphere. There were glorious red sunsets all the way in Europe as well. And so his painting, some people have said, might have been his memory of that time when he was also in an asylum. So the
Hmm.
painting itself came out 10 years later in
Okay.
1893. But They say that this is inspired by his time in the asylum. Another source could be that there was a slaughterhouse nearby, hence the
Oh,
red color and the screaming human. So there are a couple of uh, possible theories. One of the leading theory is the Krakatoa eruption and the glorious sunsets that happened thereafter. Very good, very good. And so, by the way, this guy is Norwegian. So we are talking an Indonesian eruption that
all
changed
the
the
way in Norway.
skies all the way in Norway. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it was quite loud. I remember reading that, the sound was heard like thousands of miles away. People had heard the
Hmm.
sound of the
Hmm.
eruption.
Hmm.
And it changed the temperature over Europe and other places also for a few years, if I'm not mistaken. Like the entire Earth cooled down by
Yes,
a
it did.
couple of degrees or
It
something.
cooled down by a couple of degrees. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Fascinating historical event. Yeah.
Yeah, Krakatoa.
All
Okay,
right.
let me shift to sports. This is a very funny thing that I've always seen. This seemingly contradictory all-female sport earned little respect when it made its initial splash at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games. It was an Olympic sport from 84 to 92. The name of the sport itself is an oxymoron, even though the organizers have and continue to defend it. Tracy Ruiz Conforto was the inaugural champion, winning a gold in the 1984 Olympics and a silver in the 1988 one. Which sport?
Did you say seemingly all female sport?
No, it's a seemingly contradictory name.
Oh,
It's an
okay.
oxymoron, and
I
it's
see.
got this kind of contradictory name to it. It's so this sport is basically, I'm giving you a clue in advance. One of the sport is
Hmm.
derived from an existing sport, which still is part of the Olympics.
Okay. So this sport is not a part of the Olympics anymore.
No longer. It was there in
No
84,
longer.
88, and 92.
Is it the sport of croquet?
No, no, no. Not croquet. Not
No.
croquet. This is more to do. I'll would point you towards swimming.
It's no longer part of the Olympics.
Okay, let
No,
me put it this way.
I'm
Let me
not
put it
sure.
this way. I'll give you
Hmm.
one more clue. This is very vague. This is a very vague
Okay.
question, but I find it very funny,
Okay.
so I wanted to ask it anyway. Uh, the current version, the version that still exists, is the team version of the sport.
Hmm.
The solo
Oh,
version is the one that's no longer there. That was only there for a couple of Olympics.
water polo? Though I can't imagine that was ever a
No,
solo sport. Synchronized diving? Was it a solo sport
we
ever?
are very, very close actually. You're very close.
Really? Synchronized swimming? Is that the
Yes,
one?
it was solo synchronized swimming.
Does that even mean? What do you think with? What does that mean?
Exactly. It was when synchronized swimming was first introduced as an official event at the
Oh God.
84 Olympics. It came in three varieties: duet, where there are two people, eight woman, which is the team version, and strangely solo.
You won't believe it because synchronized diving was the first answer that came to my head. And I was like, there's no way that makes sense. It's a solo sport. Wow. Okay.
No, I mean, like synchronized diving is a sport, then you have synchronized diving. This is solo synchronized swimming. Now, the argument that the organizers make is that the swimming is synchronized to music.
Oh, okay.
But still, come on, let's just
That
be
is
fair here.
quite
Solo synchronized
hilarious.
swimming is just silly.
Synchronized swimming, yeah. There should be some synchronized running, synchronized jumping, solo sports, also known as dance. Okay. This last question is following your trend of whimsical questions. This one
Okay.
is whimsical more than a whoa, blows your mind kind of trivia, but I like it. So let's do this. What management technique has these particular categories under it? Narcissistic leadership, sidelining talent, set up to fail, management by absence, management by crisis, need to know, blame shifting. So these are all just various ways that this management technique is applied, and it's not the most positive of connotation. So it's a negatively used
Yeah.
phrase for this management technique, and these are some of the ways that it is
Is it like a
executed.
handbook of dictators or something?
Oh no, no, no. So the reason that I asked this question is because the name of the management technique itself has a really fun little etymology to it. So
Okay.
hence the question. Yeah, it's an etymology question.
Okay, I need a clue. I need a clue.
Okay, so the idea is that in a lot of these narcissistic leadership, sidelining talent, management by absence, need to know, all of them have a lot of keeping your employees in the dark aspect to
Okay, keeping somebody in the dark. Is it like the Dark Knight management system? No. No.
it. No, it's not. It's not.
uh, no, yeah. I'm not getting any
Yeah,
ideas.
it's a vague question. Keeping them in the dark and, pardon my French, feeding them bullshit is the
Okay.
main core idea behind this management style.
Eating them bullshit and keeping them in the dark. Is this something like shitting in the dark management policy? I have no clue,
Maybe
dude.
you're on the right path, but it's not the right answer.
Okay, I'm on the right path, shitting in the dark.
As in, it is, well, no, not exactly that. Not defecating in the absence of light. No, no.
Okay.
But it is a very terrible pun. Not even a pun, it's just a quirky little etymology.
No, dude, I do not know. My mind is going in quite controversial areas. Let's not go there.
It came about, by the way, in the year 1981 in the book The Soul of a New Machine. That won't help you specifically if you haven't
No,
read
it
the book
doesn't.
itself. Let me see what other clue that I give you. It is also related to the culinary world.
Michelin? No, no, it's not going to be
No, no,
Michelin.
no, no.
I'd get sued by Michelin if I said something like that. uh, no, dude, I'm just blanking.
No worries. I'll tell you what the answer is because I don't think there are many clues that I can even give in this case. It's called the mushroom management technique because mushrooms are kept in the dark and fed a lot of bullshit. So it's called mushroom management technique.
Okay, that was a fitting end today. Okay,
I
brilliant
could not.
question. Yeah, brilliant question. The
Hmm.
mushroom management technique. I should remember that one. So I think that's the end of today's episode. Aditya, you know what to do.
Oh, yes. All right. Wow. I have no clue. Okay, no, you know what? I have a good one. What's the one redeeming quality of mushroom management technique? It's usually a negative thing, but what's the one redeeming quality?
Okay, so you all heard the question. What is the one redeeming quality of the mushroom management technique? And with that, that's all for this episode. Thank you for listening in. We hope you enjoyed the show and have learned something new. If you liked what you heard, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. There are a lot of people who are listening, but very few who are leaving us a review. So please do so. It helps us reach a wider audience and allows more people to discover and enjoy the show. We'd also love to hear from you feedback, suggestions, trivia. You can reach us on Instagram at Are You Quizzing Me? We appreciate your support and look forward to sharing more episodes with you in the future. That's all from me.
Bye bye.
Yes, and stay tuned for the fact check from Aditya after this musical sting.
Oh, that's right.
And here's the fact check for the episode. The telling tradition of Nasruddin Hoja was added to the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO on the request of multiple countries as mentioned in the podcast: Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and the one country we missed in the episode, Turkey or Turkey. The word hoja in Turkish would be closer to teacher or instructor rather than holy man. Orkut was never bought by Google. In fact, it was launched in 2004 and was always owned by Google right from the very beginning. Edward Munch was not in an asylum during the painting of The Scream. However, Munch's sister, Laura, was manic depressive and was committed to an asylum at that time. And that's all for the fact check.